Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain, and welcome to the Liv and Maddie review. Last time, we talked about non-existent ghosts and forced pairings. This time, well, definitely a better episode all around, but we'll get into the specifics soon enough. And now, here's your regularly scheduled spoiler warning before we begin the review. Everybody ready? Great, let's dive into Vive la Rooney. For those intrigued by the title, it literally translates to Long Live Rooney, a play on a common French expression Vive la France, which means Long Live France with a literal translation, but really just serves as a means to express French pride. Why they went with this title is beyond me, because this episode has nothing to do with family pride, but I digress. So, we kick things off with Papa Rooney back for the weekend. The running joke is that nobody notices his beard. Yeah, best not to think too much about that one. So, anyways, the coach is back in town. Him and Maddie do their usual competitive thing, which is nice to see since he's been gone for so long. But then it gets a bit serious, as Maddie brings up the idea of dating again with her father. Diggy, I know you're down under right now, but take notes. This is how important decisions are supposed to be handled. You talk things out with the people that care about you. I really like this scene, and it makes a lot of sense as well. In the very first episode, when Liv came back from Hollywood, Maddie wanted to talk to her about a similar subject, and now her dad is back for a bit, so she wants to talk to him about the important things. I like what Papa Rooney had to say on the matter, but also the way he said it. He wisely turns the situation into a parallel of Maddie's knee injury and how she eventually recovered from that and went on to win the state championship. I don't want to start sounding like a broken record when I bring up Rooney family dynamics, but they just get these moments so right. Unfortunately, this moment is undercut a bit by a later event which we'll get into. So, the Parker-Joey storyline this time around focuses on Parker building a robot to dispose of waste in as green a way as possible. His challenge is defeating Alex, the resident Ridgewood High robotics expert. His robot breaks down before the competition, so Joey tries to fix the problem by literally turning himself into the robot. It's a gesture that's both nice and nuts, but we've pretty much come to expect out-of-the-box things like this from good old Joe. This plotline wouldn't have worked as well without Ridgewood or Rooney having come a few episodes before, because it's clear right now that Parker really wants to get high school right, and even though he's fitting in better because of that previous episode, he wants to push beyond just being there. The way he always challenges himself is what I like best about his character. But now it's Joey's turn to hand down some pretty sage advice to a younger member of the family.
I know how tough it's been for me to try and figure out high school. I can't imagine trying to go through it at your age. But you don't have to conquer this place in your first semester. Just keep working and don't quit.
Thanks, Munch.
It's another great moment out of the Rooney brothers. Ambition is great, but a little bit of levity can go a long way too, something Joey specializes in. Also, the whole reason for the French title can be summed up pretty quickly. Mama Rooney wants to teach Liv French so that she can answer interview questions with a French media outlet. Short story shorter, she learns. It's as silly as you might think, and it wasn't even something shown in the previews, so it shouldn't really have been the source of inspiration for the episode title, but that's a minor grievance. But because this show loves making me feel uncomfortable, Josh is back, seeking advice from Pete Rooney in what Josh refers to as a wizard-like beard. Yeah, I'm not sure Josh over here has seen any movie about wizards ever. Papa Rooney's beard wouldn't cut it in a Stanley Cup playoff run. But anyways, he seeks out his counsel for what else? How to ask Maddie out. And, because the show loves to force things, we get this heavily coincidental fear of heights for Josh, so that the advanced game of Treehouse Horse that was happening before can happen again. You can probably guess what happens next. So Josh and Maddie face off in a game of horse from way up in the treehouse. We already know that Josh is bad at basketball, so it shouldn't come as a huge shock when Maddie wins. The mechanics of the situation work though, because this is Maddie we're talking about, so it does make sense that trying to beat her at something would be an ideal way to ask specifically her out. The problem? Literally everything else. This nearly ended the episode, so I'll talk in more detail when we break it all down as a whole. So Maddie agrees to date Josh, and everyone finally realizes that Papa Rooney does in fact have a beard. So, that's Vive la Rooney, an episode that has its fair share of great, but also questionable moments. The Parker-Joey storyline works better as a means to an end than an actual story, but it has heart, and it gets the job done. The Liv learning French stuff is a bit of a distraction, so not much to say on that front. And the initial conversation Maddie has with her father is pretty well executed. Now here's where the problems come in. Remember how long it took Maddie to recover from that knee injury? It took 11 episodes, which equates to about half a year in the context of the show. And that's just being medically cleared to play. It took longer still for her to be mentally ready. This episode undercuts that parallel by, once again, forcing this relationship down our throats. This episode would have actually been changed for the better if Josh never appeared in it, while Maddie was slowly contemplating whether or not she was ready, and then coming to a decision on her own, instead of what we got here. I've said before that I didn't know enough about Josh to effectively critique his character, but now I feel like I do. He's a nice guy, but he's also as flat as a floor. He always talks in the same tenor, like he's only got one emotional setting, and his dialogue feels completely phoned in half the time. But worse than that, he just doesn't get it. Remember when I praised Holden in the top 10 episode video for understanding why Liv was temporarily rejecting him? Well, a different thing happens here. Maddie clearly states that she doesn't know if she's ready. This is a softball question. The easy answer is yes, I understand and respect your feelings and will gladly wait until you are ready. But instead, he basically keeps trying to convince her. It's like he completely missed the message. Now, I know I'm not female, so maybe I'm just missing something here, but I'm pretty sure the phrase not ready doesn't equate to push harder. It's the same issue all over again from Secret Admirer Rooney, where Maddie keeps telling everyone how she feels about all this, but nobody other than Papa Rooney seems to care. Maybe it doesn't mean as much coming from me, but doesn't Maddie deserve better than this? It's hard to believe that the same people who wrote up what's so far a well-paced and well-developed relationship between Holden and Liv are the same people handling this potential relationship so poorly. I'm still holding out hope that this show doesn't stoop so low as to create a Diggy-Josh confrontation just for the sake of doing it. But if that does happen in the future, there's no shortage of ways to make it work as an engaging piece of television. But guys, I've got a bad feeling about this. All in all, this episode does a couple things right in the brothers department, but again, it's hard to overlook how a great father-daughter moment feels sort of cheapened by the events that followed. I understand what they were trying to do, but it just missed the mark here. The way they've handled Josh as a character with regards to his feelings for Maddie feels just as forced as the overarching situation itself. And I know I've been milking the word force a fair bit in these last couple of Liv and Maddie videos, but I can't think of a better way to describe it. But then that begs the question, if I didn't feel so strongly about Maddie, would I still feel the same way about this situation, or Josh? Am I being fair in my critique? Should I trust that Maddie knows what she's doing, instead of criticizing the show that's making her do it? All tough questions, so, as always, let me know what you guys think about everything that's developing. Your comments matter a lot to me, and they always help me think about things in new ways and discover new and interesting perspectives. In short, a good episode that could have been great, but just slipped up a bit. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, help me out with the likes, subs, and share it all over social media. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. This week is going to be a fun one because I'm finally answering all of your questions in the 2100 Q&A special. If you've still got questions to ask, throw them down here before Tuesday. Unlike my other videos, I want to make that one as casual as possible. So, for the first time in Disney Brain history, I won't be writing things up beforehand. It'll be me the person more so than me the YouTuber. So that's happening, along with the Cheetah Girls DCOM review a little later on, more Power Rangers content, and a top 10 best Nickelodeon shows video down the line. So, lots to look forward to. Until then...
Oh, you lose past your prime time.
I missed that smack talk. It's good to be home, Mad Dog.
I missed you.